What a headshot! What a head!
How's it, guys? This is Dayvy, FPL, and welcome back to the Fantasy Premier League video here on my channel. Now, firstly, I just wanted to say that it was Spring Day here in South Africa, but I do know that the viewers on this channel are from around the world, so even if it wasn't a day of celebration, hopefully you guys managed to have a good day and at least celebrate something in your lives. But going on to this video and what this video is going to be about, we're firstly going to be taking a look at the Game Week 3 review. I just wanted to do a quick analysis on Game Week 3 while it's fresh in our minds. I know that it has been a couple of days since Game Week 3 actually ended, but we do have this kind of 2-week international break, so lots of time to kind of talk about the details of the past and look at the future decisions that it might cause. So that's exactly what the second part of the video is going to be about. We're going to be looking at my current transfer thoughts, or at least transfer plan, going into the next couple of days, as I kind of wanted to give you guys some ideas, and maybe in the comments down below we can have some debate about which combinations you guys do favor. But lots to talk about in terms of transfers, to bring in Ronaldo, to not bring in Ronaldo, to wildcard, to not wildcard. So hopefully in this video, by the end of it, you get a little bit more clarity on what your current plans are going to be. I know around these international breaks, everyone gets a little bit antsy, wants to make transfers, wants to activate wildcard chips. So hopefully by watching this video, it kind of settles things down a little bit. I'm not saying that you guys shouldn't be making moves, shouldn't be kind of activating chips, but I do think there's a lot of hype around FPL at the moment. So make sure that your decisions are informed and not kind of driven by emotions. Without further ado, let's get into the video. So sit back, relax, and let's get straight into it. So the first thing I wanted to talk about is the wildcard, and have I activated the wildcard? And a lot of people have been asking me over on Twitter and in the YouTube comments. So the first thing that I want to say is that if I do anything on my own FPL team, I let you guys know over my Twitter page at Dayvy FPL. So make sure you guys are following me there, and maybe even keep notifications on. I don't usually spam tweets. You guys don't have to worry about getting kind of blasted with notifications on my Twitter page. But in terms of the wildcard, I've not activated it because I haven't tweeted it. And that's what I wanted to let you guys know, is that I always have your back. You don't have to worry. If I do anything, I tweet about it. So you guys really don't have to stress. I can understand if you are new viewers to the channel, maybe you don't know how things have worked, but just ask the OGs on the channel. I'll always kind of let you guys know what I'm doing, so you don't have to worry about it. I got you. Don't stress. But going on to the wildcard, as I said, I haven't activated it yet. I won't lie, I haven't really been too keen on activating it. I just think there's too many unknowns, too many uncertainties right now. And as I mentioned in the introduction, I think right now everything's kind of being driven by emotion and kind of hype. And that's why I think I'm going to let things calm down a bit and take the next couple game weeks as they come. And then we can always activate it when we talk about that game week 7 fixture swing. If you guys have activated it, nothing wrong with that. I think that makes FPL more of a fun game if you're going to be driven by emotion. But I think in general, I almost wish that we got off to a worse start than we currently did, because that'll make activating the chip a lot easier and probably a lot more fun in the grand scheme of things. So if you guys don't know, I do have 2 free transfers. So I think with most of the moves that I am considering, whether it be Ronaldo in, Ronaldo out, I do still have those 2 free transfers to kind of attack that situation. And I am currently looking at maybe taking a -4 or a -8. So that's also something that you guys have to take into account. Can you actually get the players you want with a -4 or -8? I think a -8 hit is worth it in the long run if you're going to be keeping your wild card. I think a -12 is probably the region that you're getting in where you probably should be considering using the wildcard chip. But I think a couple of hits at this stage of the season aren't the end of the world, especially if you are looking to bring someone like Ronaldo in and captain him for the short-term future. So long story short, and I've kind of elaborated on this point quite a lot, I haven't activated the wildcard. I don't really think I will, but you know, in FPL, sometimes things change in quite a short period of time, and maybe a Firmino injury and Jota coming back to that starting 11 could maybe switch my mind and make me consider taking that wildcard chip and activating it as soon as possible. But as I said, I will let you guys know if anything changes over my Twitter page at DayvyFPL. But now let's get on and look at the Game Week 3 review. So going over our Game Week 3 team and how we kind of got on, I managed to get 72 points, which is above the average, and that saw us basically halve our rank, and we're currently sitting just below that 90k mark. So I think in Game Week 2, we were around that 200k mark, so really nice kind of halving of the rank there. But as I've said throughout these kind of team selection videos and team review videos, the rank doesn't really matter at this stage of the season, and I think at a minimum, Game Week 10 is probably where you guys are going to be looking at to get a really good kind of analysis of where you're sitting in the overall rankings. So don't really worry about it too much. If you are doing well, that's great. I'm not trying to discredit any high rankings at the moment, but there's a whole lot of variance, and I think between me and the top 10k, there's just a couple of points between us, so you guys can easily make that up with a differential or maybe even a differential captain in these next couple game weeks. So this point also talks to you guys if you haven't got off to a good start. Don't really worry about it. You can easily make it up in the upcoming game weeks. And just remember, there are 38 game weeks in a season. So game week 3 is just a small portion of that. So you guys don't have to stress too much. But just make sure that your future decisions are the best ones that you guys can make. Going over the bench, nothing much to talk about there. We did have actually Tsimikas feature for Liverpool. Came off the bench with about 5 minutes, 10 minutes to go for Robertson. So if you guys were going to start him, there was a little bit of a talk in the deadline stream whether to actually start Tsimikas in case he does feature in the starting 11. So I'm actually relatively happy that I did bench him. I know that it didn't actually turn out to be that great because I would have probably benched Ayling instead, and he only got 2 points. But every point in FPL matters at the moment, so I will always take that 1 extra point from Ayling. Going on to the rest of the starting 11, we got Sanchez with only 2 points after conceding 2 goals to Everton. So luckily he managed to get a save point, so did still get those 2 appearance points basically. But against Everton, Brighton really didn't look that great, and it just shows the form maybe that Everton are in currently, or maybe the form that Brighton are slowly kind of deteriorating. I think if you guys are going to be wildcarding, would be quite an interesting decision whether you're going to keep Sanchez or maybe shift him on for another goalkeeper. We've already kind of mentioned Ayling with only 2 points. Leeds yet again were quite disappointing, conceding to Burnley. I thought that might be quite a wrapped in clean sheet for them, but it just shows you that Leeds right now aren't looking that great defensively, and with the kind of Liverpool up next, that might even be a captaincy consideration for Mo Salah. We did have returns from Trent Alexander-Arnold and Luke Shaw. So finally, Luke Shaw and Manchester United managed to keep a clean sheet against Wolves. I don't really know how, because I think that Wolves had a ton of chances, but they just can't seem to finish anything. So maybe they got a little bit lucky, but I'll always kind of take those points from Luke Shaw. And then Trent actually conceded, but did still get 2 bonus points. It's a little bit interesting. We had the same situation with Luke Shaw last week, where United conceded, but he still got 2 bonus points. And that just kind of speaks for the stats behind these 2 options. Still getting forward, still creating loads of chances, even getting some shots off. So that just shows you, even though these players might not be returning that much, the behind the scenes stats and the underlying stats still look quite good. Going on to the midfield, which was much more exciting than our defense, I want to get kind of the players and the disappointments out straight away. We've got Ben Rama, the new transfer in. So sorry about you guys if you did own him before. I seem to have brought him in and broken him, so I do apologize for that. But I just kind of wanted to get the security of having him, because after those double-digit hauls in game week 1 and 2, I simply just had to get the Algerian international into my starting 11, as I didn't want to miss out on any upcoming hauls. Still does have some nice fixtures coming up, so I still am holding thumbs that he managed to return. But the player that I did take out was actually going to be Gundogan from Man City. So he managed to score against a really weak Arsenal side. So maybe I should have kept him in, but I still wanted, as I said, a coverage. And I did also have 2 free transfers. So I was almost forced into making a move. We then got Bruno Fernandes, who also managed to return 2 points. And I think right now there's a massive Bruno bandwagon kind of going with Cristiano Ronaldo obviously coming into that lineup. So Bruno Fernandes seems to be the player to take out if you want to afford Ronaldo. And I can understand why, because if Ronaldo's going to be on pens, I don't think Bruno Fernandes' returns will be as high as last season. We then go on to our third highest performer from our midfield, which is actually going to be Greenwood. And now whether that goal should have stood is a kind of another debate. I looked at the foul again, and it definitely looked like a foul, but I did manage to get 8 points from that. So I'm not really complaining, even though it probably wasn't the most fair decision. But 8 points from Greenwood just shows you the form that he's in. And I really don't think that Ollie can drop him at the moment, because he seems to be the only United player that's actually scoring. We then have our 2 10-point appearance players. Finally, Buendia. I told you the BN Buendia is going to stand for bang this weekend, and that's definitely what he did. A lovely goal that he managed to convert, and also Danny Ings' assist. I don't really know how it was an assist. It was one of those where he kind of passes it laterally and then the player bangs on a long range effort. So I'm not complaining, but if you guys don't own Ings, I can understand maybe being a little bit salty. But finally, Buendia managed to return the patience with a lovely 10-pointer, and then also Mo Salah getting a 10-pointer. So penalty, and then also 3 bonus points. Don't really see that from Mo Salah that often, only getting 1 attacking return and then a full set of bonuses. So I always take that. And if you guys haven't been playing FPL for too long, just kind of cherish this moment, because it doesn't really happen that often that Mo Salah gets 3 bonus points. But then going on to the main man, the big man of our team, Antonio, getting 11 points, double to 22, an assist and a goal. Really happy that I managed to captain him. I was a little bit differential, but not too much, but I can understand that after the form that the West Ham striker's been in. But I was just happy that he managed to get on to the end of some returns, because that Crystal Palace game was looking a little bit tight and cagey at the start of the fixture. So I was really happy to manage to score more than kind of the average, and that saw us get a nice little green arrow. So currently just below that 90k mark, and let's just kind of boost on and hope that we improve over these next couple game weeks. So now going on to our transfer decisions, and the first player that I want to talk about is going to be Diogo Jota. And the reason for that is that we currently have had some news about Bobby Firmino. Did have that hamstring injury against Chelsea, actually was replaced before half time because of it, and there has been kind of conflicting reports. So the first thing that came out said that he was going to miss about 3 to 4 months. That turned out to be a little bit false, and we had some more respectable journalists come out like Paul Joyce and come out and say that the injury wasn't actually as bad as earlier anticipated, and he'll probably only miss about 2 to 3 weeks. Now whether that timeline is actually going to happen is another story. We've seen multiple players kind of have setbacks on their return from injuries, so maybe it's going to be longer than that, maybe it'll be shorter than that, we kind of never know. But right now what we can assume is that Bobby Firmino is probably going to be out of that Leeds fixture. But the thing that kind of worries me about Jota is that if Firmino's back in the starting 11, back in that squad overall, I think that it's always going to be a concern about rotation. We saw on the weekend against Chelsea, now this fixture was actually one that I predicted Jota to actually start because he's been in better form, looked like a stronger player. But no, what does Klopp do? Kind of puts Firmino in that starting 11 straight away, and you can kind of just see that even though Jota's playing well, he will always be rotated with Firmino if Firmino's going to be back fit. So that's the only thing I'm kind of worried about Jota with. But if you do remove Firmino from that situation and that kind of debate, what's going to happen? Diogo Jota's going to be nailed in that starting 11, going to be playing basically every single minute, and that's what makes him a really attractive FPL option. So all my eyes are currently going to be on the situation. If we do get more news about Firmino, if he's going to miss a prolonged amount of time, then I think I might be kind of tempted to wildcard, because I definitely want Jota in my squad. And with Tsimikas kind of taking up that third position, I don't really know what to do right now. So throughout the upcoming combinations of players, I have excluded Diogo Jota because right now Firmino will be back in 2 weeks, but just kind of substitute him if news does come out and he's going to be back in that starting 11 for at least the medium term future. So now going on to the transfer combinations, and as I did mention in the introduction, I do have 2 free transfers, but currently I am looking at taking a -4 hit. So first things first, just kind of ignore Demarai Gray's shirt. He does play for Everton now, but I couldn't find a kind of picture with him playing for Everton. So just excuse that, and just remember that he does play for Everton. So this combination I consider to be more of a conservative option, and it's going to include 3 players out and 3 players in. Now these 3 players in are going to be quite fixture swing dependent. You can see that's going to be 2 Wolves options because obviously their fixture run from now till the foreseeable future looks absolutely stellar, and I think that you guys should definitely be considering some Wolves options. So the 3 players that will be departing are going to be the 2 options that were planned from the beginning. It's going to be Danny Ings and Buendia from Aston Villa because the Aston Villa fixtures look simply terrible. And we have had news right now that Buendia will be having to quarantine when he does come back from the South American World Cup qualifiers. The other player that we'll be taking out is going to be Tsimikas. Now this also could be Omabad Madeli. I'm currently monitoring the situation, and I don't really want to triple up on Liverpool. If in the future I want to kind of bring in a Diogo Jota, bring in a Robertson, I don't want Tsimikas to be in the kind of behind the scenes there and kind of blocking that triple up. So in terms of the players that I will be bringing in, I will be bringing in Demarai Gray. I'll also be bringing in Raul Jimenez, and then finally Nelson Semedo to just shore up that defense a little bit and give me another bench option with Ayling on the bench. So also wanted to say that I am able to afford other players like a Ferran Torres, but we'll be talking about it in the next combination. So I don't want to kind of make these the exact same combinations as each other. I wanted to kind of spice things up, give you guys some different options. And if you are looking at a nice cheap 5.5 around that mark, I think Demarai Gray is 5.6 right now because of a price rise. But I think Demarai Gray should be the player that you guys look at because he seems to be in good form, and Everton overall kind of getting a little bit more assured under Rafa Benitez, and I am expecting him to put up a couple of good performances in the upcoming game weeks. With the Wolves assets, nothing much to talk about there. I know that these assets haven't actually scored. Wolves haven't scored a goal since the start of the Premier League. So I know what you're thinking. Why are you bringing in an attacker? But I am a fixture FPL manager. So if they have great fixtures, surely they're going to score against them. And that's the kind of thinking that I have. And that's why Raul Jimenez does come into my kind of selection. You could also go for a triple up with the Adama Traore. I really do like him as an option, as he currently is looking so explosive, so dangerous. But it just worries me right now about his finishing ability. It just seems to be really bad at the moment. Whereas with Raul Jimenez has been injured for quite a long amount of time. So if he does manage to get back into form, I think he's going to find those shooting boots quite easily, and that surely is going to offer some returns. With Nelson Semedo currently at a price drop, so you guys can get him for 4.9 million, and I just think he's looking like such a more of an attacking fullback under that Wolves kind of 5 at the back, and that's why I really do like him as an option. And with those lovely Wolves fixtures, I just kind of hope that they can shore up that defense slightly and get those clean sheets. So as I said, this is more of the conservative option. You can see no Ronaldo here, no kind of Lukaku. These are the planned transfers that I did have at the start of the season, and I might just kind of follow that plan because these players do have great fixtures coming up. But now kind of going into the more explosive option, yes, we're going to be looking at CR7, bringing Ronaldo in for that Newcastle fixture. Just kind of hope that he starts because I definitely will be looking at captaining him. And the player that I will unfortunately have to take out to account for Ronaldo is going to be his compatriot Bruno Fernandes. Just unfortunately, if Bruno's not going to be on penalties, I don't really see the appeal of him at 12 million. And that's the only reason why I'm looking at Ronaldo as an option, because I think that they'll give him all the options to score set pieces, direct free kicks, everything like that, penalties included. I think that Ronaldo will be on all of those as he looks to kind of break the records again and look for another high scoring season. So Bruno Fernandes out, Ronaldo in. I'll definitely look to captain a Ronaldo then as well with that lovely fixture against Newcastle at home, as I am expecting a massive hype at Old Trafford, and I can honestly see a couple of goals in the favour of United. Then the next two players that will be departing will be Danny Ings, Buendia. I simply just wanted to take these players out for quite a while, and that was, as I said, the plan to take these players out before game week 4. And the two players that we will be bringing in are going to be Adama Traore and then also Ferran Torres. So Ferran Torres right now is one of the hottest properties in FPL at the moment. I think that he's going to be a great option for the upcoming game weeks, especially if he does continue to start at that false 9 position. The only thing that is a little bit hindering him is that if Kevin De Bruyne comes back into the lineup, a lot of people are kind of predicting that Kevin De Bruyne will take up that false 9 position. But with the form that Ferran Torres is in, if he can keep up that form, I really do think it's his kind of position to lose. City's fixtures upcoming don't look that great, but we saw on the weekend, I know that Arsenal haven't looked that great, but Man City are one of those kind of fixture-proof teams, and they can basically score against anyone, and I think that you really should be looking at a Man City asset, at least for the medium-term future. The last player in this kind of combination is going to be Adama Traore. Just kind of spoke about his finishing ability, and if he just managed to shoot on target, kind of get that shot to be a little more powerful and on target, I definitely think that he could be one of the best options in FPL that we've ever seen, because he's simply just taking on everyone, beating everyone, successful dribbles all over the place, and that's only going to help his bonus points as well. So my kind of logic behind the move is that I'm just kind of combining those lovely Wolves fixtures with Adama Traore's ability, and I'm kind of equaling it to FPL points hopefully, and that's what he hopefully will return as FPL managers. So I do really like kind of bringing Ronaldo here, because I think if he does start against Newcastle, basically guaranteed to get a goal, and I'm pretty sure he's going to want to start off hot, start off in front of those fans, doing quite well. So that's why I think he's probably the best captain option going to game week 4. So if there is a kind of a rumor that he will play, I definitely think that I will be bringing him in before game week 4. But this is basically a wrap up the video, guys. Hopefully you did enjoy it. Please don't forget to like it if you did, and subscribe if you have not subscribed yet. As I said, please comment down below what combinations you guys are looking at. Maybe you have combinations that are currently better than mine. I've kind of tried to play around a little bit, try to fit in a couple of different options, and this is what I managed to come up with that gave me the most variance. So I'm always interested to see your guys' thoughts, what you guys are doing. If you're wildcarding, post those wildcard drafts down below. I want to see them, and otherwise I'll be checking you guys in the future for some upcoming videos. I'll be signing off. It's been Dayvy FPL, and I'm out. Cheers, bye.